I'm Andy MacLachlan, chainsaw carver. I became a chainsaw carver through forestry. I was a crop feller. We took trees down with chainsaws in those days. It's all done by machine now. But we used the chainsaw 7-8 hours a day. And eventually you kind of discover you can do other things with chainsaws, fortunately. I was a bit of a wayward kid. My uncle demanded that I go to work and do a proper job. And he took me up the hills and showed me how to knock trees down at probably about 17 years old or something. And I was trained by 2 days of watching him, and then I got a chainsaw thrown at me and told to do it myself. So I was one of the lucky ones that made it through that process. I reckon about 17 years now. Chainsaw carver for around 17 years now, almost as long as I was a forest chainsaw operator before that. So within the next year I will have been a chainsaw carver for most of my working life. Chainsaw carving is probably the most dangerous form of carving, certainly. It's quite a nasty tool, the chainsaw. You're certainly going to have to hang on to the right end of it, not the wrong end. It's a very fast-moving tool with no guards on it. I'm actually surprised that it's allowed to be used by anybody ever. When you carve with it, you actually ask it to do things that you're certainly not supposed to do with it. But so it is dangerous. But having said that, it's the tool that I'm used to doing, and lots of people are capable of doing it. I think you should credit people with lots of common sense. It's clearly dangerous, so you treat it with the respect that it deserves. The chainsaw does a thing called kickback, which where the end of the nose wheel behaves like a fast-moving wheel, and it grips suddenly and throws the chainsaw back, which unfortunately tends to be straight towards the face. Once you've experienced this a few times, then you become used to the idea, but it's probably the most dangerous aspect of the chainsaw. Protective equipment it's a must, really. As I've said before, the chainsaw is a very dangerous tool. It's crazy not to use that stuff. The only thing that I wouldn't use myself is chainsaw gloves. I don't believe in not being able to feel the machine that you're using. If it's about to react in a strange way or kick back, I want to feel it. I want the nerves to pass to my brain as fast as possible. I don't want the feeling to have to go through a glove first. I enjoy my job. And people, the crazier the better. They ask me for all sorts of interesting things, and I have to say I enjoy the challenge. It's always nice to be asked. I don't mind repeating things like owls and eagles, which I do a lot of, and bears, because there's always something slightly different you can do with the carving to make it more interesting for me and hopefully the people that see it. But it's always nice to get a challenge as well. My work does seem to appeal to people because I'm lucky enough to be able to sell it. So it does, and it seems to make people smile, which is a nice effect to have on people. It's very much a dangerous job, and it's very noisy. You do feel like you've gone to work during the day. An artistic side to it, but you don't get to just call yourself an artist. You do have to roll your sleeves up and pick up a machine and work all day long with it. And believe me, it starts to wear your arms out eventually. I tend to carve mostly wildlife, but it's always very nice to get an opportunity to venture off into other types of art. I quite enjoy doing things like from sort of Celtic culture, like the Green Man kind of idea, where you're sort of marrying leaves and people's faces together and things like that. Any kind of abstract, I'm always interested. I'm just interested in shapes, and I like to create some things that people see different things in. So you're not forcing people to see a particular animal or something. You're actually giving them a shape that they can work with themselves in their own mind. And I enjoy that, and wherever possible, I come up with different ideas for that kind of thing as well. asked to do quite a lot of work for public places, which is, it's nice to have your work in a place where people can appreciate it. You know, I've carved bears. I've done many bears, which is a strange thing to do in Scotland, I suppose, since we don't have any native bears. But they seem popular for children in particular. There's some nice walks around this area, and Kilmun Arboretum being one of them, where you'll see one of my sculptures, and she asked me to do a big carving up there, which I'm very proud of. Go on the four corners of the national park, actually, that I did maybe 10 years or so back, Ardentinny being one of those corners. We are at Rashfield, near Dunoon, on the west coast of Scotland, and at the Clyde estuary, and just into the Highlands. Dunoon is a great place to see. It's very green. The scenery changes quite dramatically when you just round about the time when you arrive in Dunoon, you're arriving into the Highlands. I come from Dunoon. I've lived here most of my life. I have lived on other places, but I always ended up coming back to Dunoon. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that.